Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I do want to speak about 3 American players, which is Weston Mckennie, Christian Pulisic, and Tyler Adams. Later in the video, we're also going to be talking about the squad list that Greg Berhalter has assembled for the Nations League. And then lastly, we are going to be going to Inter Miami and talk about the latest regarding Lionel Messi. So there is plenty that we do have to discuss for today's video. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. I'm happy that you guys are here. If you guys are USA fans, or if you guys do follow the MLS, this will be the channel for you. So I hope you guys do enjoy it, and so let's get started. Let's talk about Weston Mckennie, because recently Weston Mckennie has been showing that he is probably one of the best midfielders in Serie A. So far in all competitions, Weston Mckennie has 9 assists and 7 of them are in the Serie A and 2 of them are in the Coppa Italia. Recently in the game against Atalanta, Weston Mckennie was able to save the day by providing Cambiaso and Malik an assist each, which led towards Juventus going on a 2-2 tie. It was a very important game because Atalanta is a great team in the league, and Weston Mckennie was able to show up. Just to give you guys even a better perspective on just how important he has been, in the year of 2024, only Kevin De Bruyne, who has 11, has recorded more assists in all competitions than Weston Mckennie. And this is of course within Europe and within the top 5 leagues. It's crazy to me to hear that Weston Mckennie is almost going at the exact same rate of Kevin De Bruyne, because Kevin De Bruyne is like on a whole other league. Mckennie is also in the top assist leaders in the league with a total of 7. He's tied with other players like Dybala, Leao, and Giroud. And the other player that I do want to speak about is Christian Pulisic. Christian Pulisic in the past 2 weeks has been on fire. Very similar to Weston Mckennie. He created the most chances against Lazio. That game ended with AC Milan winning 1-0. He scored a goal against Slavia Prague in a game where AC Milan won 4-2, and then Christian Pulisic scored another goal against Empoli where AC Milan have yet again won 1-0. And recently in the game for the Europa League where they played against Slavia Prague for the return leg, Christian Pulisic yet again scores another goal, meaning that he has now scored his 11th goal this season, and also at the same time gave an assist to Rafael Leao. And so in all competitions he has 11 goals and 8 assists. Christian Pulisic definitely has found his correct club. This is the club for him. After so many years, after going through Dortmund, after going through Chelsea, he finally found the correct club, and it is AC Milan. And I do think that eventually Christian Pulisic will become probably one of the best players in the Italian league, and that's very hard to say because there's so many superstars in the Italian league. When did we ever think someone like Pulisic was going to be named as one of the best players? But seeing the recent results, it's very much possible. And I also believe, right, looking at these 2 cases of Weston Mckennie and Christian Pulisic, this is going to set an example for all of the other youngsters. Anybody that's within the age range of 17 years old to 22 years old, if any American player is finding a tough time in Europe and they can't find their spot and they're struggling, they can't find their certain club, maybe they don't like the coach, maybe they're underperforming for whatever reason, just know time is all they need. They need to be patient. They just need to continue to work hard and not give up and not take a step back and go to the MLS or go to a league in Mexico. Just continue to stay there, look at your options, get better as a player from a mental standpoint and sportingly, and then you would be able to see the results after a couple of more seasons, because Weston Mckennie went through it. He went to Schalke, he went to Leeds, he went to Juventus for his first season. He failed, he was loaned, and then he came back to Juventus again, and now you see him successful. Again with Christian Pulisic, went through Dortmund, Chelsea, he was underutilized, and now he found AC Milan at the age of 24 years old. It is going to be taking some time. So when we see other players like maybe Gio Reyna, maybe Brendan Aronson, etc., let's not give up on these players yet. And most importantly, these players themselves should not give up at all. Like, I hope and pray that these American players, as talented as they are, don't give up on themselves, because eventually they can find the light. They just have to look at Weston Mckennie and Christian Pulisic as great cases. And so bravo to these 2 players. As for Tyler Adams, a player that has been out for a couple of months due to a very serious injury, has now finally returned and made his return back about 48 hours ago with Bournemouth. Tyler Adams had an okay game. Of course, he did not have a world-class game. He wasn't going to provide an assist or a goal on his first game back after being out for like 7 to 8 months, but he had an okay game. And so to see that Tyler Adams is now officially back, it's good news, because he's going to be having a couple of games under his belt before we go into the Nations League. And I know that Greg Berhalter feels so lucky to see that so many players are on their A game today. And so this is going to be the Nations League roster that Greg Berhalter has assembled. We can see that Drake Callender is there, Ethan Horvath, Matt Turner. I'm completely fine with these 3 goalkeepers. All of them have proved their worth on why they should be called up. As for the defenders, we have Serginho Dest, Lund, McKenzie, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, and Joe Scully. Honestly, I would have loved to see Vickers in this team, but he is injured, which is why we do see Miles Robinson. But ideally, I would like to see Vickers. As for the midfield, you can't go wrong with it. You have the strongest midfield ever. You have Tyler Adams, Johnny Cardoso, Luca De La Torre, Weston Mckennie, Yunus Musa, and Gio Reyna. All of them fully deserve to be there. As I look at this midfield, I'm like, this is a midfield where if everything does go right regarding their futures and they continue to improve, this is a midfield that can compete heavily in the next 2 World Cups for sure. You can compare this to the midfield of Germany, the midfield of France, the midfield of Argentina, Brazil. The most talented position that USA have, it is the midfield. Like, how can you go wrong with Tyler Adams or Cardoso or De La Torre or Weston Mckennie, Yunus Musa, Gio Reyna? You have so many different weapons, so many different type of profiles. It is so exciting to see that Tyler Adams is back, because the last time he was like on a roster under Greg Berhalter was like 9-10 months ago. It has been such a long time. Now, I'm gonna be honest here. I'm just gonna give my own opinion. I'm a little nervous because the fact that Greg has immediately called back Tyler Adams after he just came back from a long-term injury, it does get me nervous. Like, I would have much rather probably have Tyler Adams get rested, have him get fully recovered and get back to full fitness, and not have him play all of these games now that he's back. Now, Greg Berhalter did say during a Champions League pregame that Adams is not going to be starting for him in these games that's coming up, but they will be looking to get him some minutes. And so he could be a player that might come in later in the match, maybe on the 70th minute or 75th minute. Looking at the forwards, we have Balogun, Pepe, Christian Pulisic, Sargent, Tillman, and Timothy Weah. Now, again, I'm excited to see that Sargent is back. The last time we saw Sargent get called up was like such a long time ago. I don't even remember. It's probably over a year since the last time we saw Sargent. Now, the reason why he has been called up is because he's been performing within the second division. I don't know if that's going to be translating towards what we're going to be seeing in the Nations League and also in the Copa America if he continues to perform well. The only thing I'm a little afraid of regarding our forward options is that we really do lack wingers. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we only have 2 wingers. If one of them does get injured, yes, we could put Gio Reyna, for example. But still, I would much rather prefer to see Gio Reyna play in the midfield full time. I don't really want to depend on Gio Reyna to take on one of the left wing or right wing positions in case one of them get injured. Like, we literally only have 2, and the reason why is because we have 3 forwards, and I don't even think that's reasonable. 3 forwards. We have Sargent, Pepe, and Balogun. In my personal opinion, I probably would have placed another winger for the spot of Sargent. Now, this was probably the reason why Aronson a couple of years ago was in the squad list. It was because he was the only player that was able to play as a 9 if he needed to be, or as a winger. But today, as of March 2024, I think that we can all agree that Aronson has not been doing enough to get called up. Like, he has been doing so horrible. I understand why Greg Berhalter did not call him up and he made the senses of just bringing in Sargent, which is why I'm not too furious about overpopulating the forward position instead of the wingers. He had no choice. Brendan Aronson has not done so much. And so in the end, we have so many guys that are in great form. Christian Pulisic, Pepe, Tillman, Sargent, Musa, Mckennie, Johnny, Luca De La Torre. Everybody is playing phenomenally well. And I'm excited to see Johnny like do some things. Like, I hope he provides an assist, maybe score a goal, because he is that player. He has been having a great season so far under Real Betis. And so I do think, looking at the type of game that we are going to be playing, which will be against Jamaica, we are going to need strong physical midfielders. And Jamaica is definitely going to want to attack us. And so I do assume that we're going to be having Johnny, Mckennie, and Musa, a very physical midfield. And it's going to be up to the US to really conquer Jamaica in a great way, because if we can have a 2-0 lead or a 3-0 lead, then we can introduce Gio Reyna into the midfield and have him come in for maybe Cardoso, Johnny, and then have a midfield of Mckennie, Musa, and Gio Reyna. That will be amazing. Moving on towards the next conversation, and we're going to be going to the MLS, because 2 days ago, Inter Miami have defeated Nashville globally on aggregate, which ended 5-3. In the second leg, it ended 3-1, with, of course, Luis Suarez, Messi, and Taylor getting on the score sheet. Inter Miami were able to shut down Nashville so well and very early. Suarez and Messi did what they had to do. Both of them got a goal and an assist, and they were able to do that before the 25th minute even hit. It was just over. Nashville had no answers. And one of the things that really did surprise me, right? I have always talked about, and many of us have been talking about, on how Inter Miami is that team that allows so many goals against them, but they're able to make it up because of their great attack with Jordi Alba, with Messi, with Suarez, with Sergio Busquets. Maybe we can also include Redondo, who is a tank in the midfield. I've always said that. But for the first time in a long time, Inter Miami were actually defending very well. And I do believe that that is one of the things that Martino is working on too, is to have Inter Miami become much more defensively solid so they can become that team that knows how to defend really good, but is world class in attack. If we look at their defensive stats, they were better than Nashville defensively, and that's very impressive. With 11 interceptions, with 30 clearances, they had 3 blocks and 11 tackles won. Now we can argue that maybe the reason why they had like 30 clearances is because Nashville had the majority of the ball, but no, the possession between them was 50-50. Inter Miami just happened to defend better, and that's really, really good. One of the brightest stars on defending has been Grizzo, Redondo, and Freire, who is one of the new defenders for Inter Miami. Luis Suarez was also named the man of the match. And he now has 4 goals and assists in 2 matches. Also, silencing all of the critics because all they said was that Suarez was too old, that his knee was finished, that he was just simply not good enough, and Suarez just continues to score more and more goals. Could we have a top scorer competitor that might compete against Messi? Yes, it could be. It could be Suarez. And that's so fun to see. Inter Miami and Tata Martino are so lucky. As for Messi, a player who did leave on the 50th minute, only played 5 minutes more in the second half. The reason why he had to be taken off was because he had like a leg injury. It was not so serious, but any type of like slight pain, of course, Tata Martino is going to be saying, no, you have to be out because I can't afford to lose someone as impactful as Messi for like 5, 6, 7 weeks. Like if Messi is going to be leaving for a couple of weeks, it's going to have to be just for the Copa America. It cannot be because of an injury. And so that is why Tata Martino said Messi has to come out, another player has to come in. And we do have some slight reports regarding the latest on the player, and this is what Hernan Claus had to say. The initial outlook is positive. They are going to be going through a series of tests within the coming hours, but everything is expected to be okay. But it's very unlikely for him to play against Washington in 2 days. Like he's not going to be there. And the reason why is because his intentions is to be available for the upcoming Argentina matches, which will be happening this month. And so I understand it. I understand why Messi would want to prioritize Argentina over anything else because he even did that at PSG. There was like this clause that said that if Argentina needed Messi, Messi would go there because that is his priority. He prioritized Argentina because he believes the job isn't done there. That has always been the case. Before, like at Barcelona, it was different. Like he did prioritize Barcelona over Argentina because that is the club of his life. He wanted to bring more trophies to the club, and I understand that. But with PSG, of course, he was going to be saying, if Argentina have games and they want to call me, I will be there. And supposedly maybe the same thing is going for Inter Miami, which is why he's also going to participate in the Copa America this summer. So that is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.